All right, Wolf Bear Records here with James Ruchalski. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Just dealing with the weather getting cold and just trying to keep busy these days with stuff to do.
So you are on the East Coast?
East Coast, yeah, outside Philly.
Oh wow, yeah, you get where a lot of snow hits.
We do. It's weird because it's a little further south than certain like Canadian cities and things, but because of the mountains, we actually get a lot of snow over here. So
Wow. Have you gotten a lot of snow with that? Did you get any snow for that last snowstorm?
no, we haven't gotten hit yet. We had a flurry, like a little dusting on the cars the other day, but we haven't had anything major yet.
Yeah, I moved down to Texas for a reason. But I guess I might be moving north again, so who knows?
Uh, I spent a couple of years in Richmond, and I loved even that just a couple hours south was such a nice warm climate.
So tell me a little about yourself.
I've been making my way through music, through whatever this career is that I've kind of turned it into. Started playing guitar about going on 15 years now, and just immediately fell in love with it. Did you ever do anything in your life? I'm sure some of the people listening to can relate to that, where you do something and just all of a sudden everything makes sense. And I remember when I played guitar, I told my parents I was maybe 14, and I said, "This is all I want to do for the rest of my life," and they were horrified. They're like, "Oh no, he's never gonna get a job." But it was that moment I just knew that I wanted to play. And a couple of years into that, I actually got a job as a guitarist for a production company outside of Nashville. They were doing some kind of like audition tours that they do, kind of like American Idol, but real low key. And I picked me up for a season, and I went down and did some entertainment with them, and that was it. It spurred the beginning of it. So since then, for going on 10 years now, been working productions and stuff like that. So
Well, that's awesome. So is that something you've always wanted to do since you were a kid?
actually, when I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Wow, that changed.
I oddly enough had no interest in music, and I always like to tease. I have a friend of mine from when I was about sixth grade. All she ever wanted to be was a dancer, and I used to tease her, be like, "That's such a dumb dream, blah blah blah. Who wants to do that?" And then we moved away, and people grow up. And then years later, she found me on Facebook, and she's like, "What the heck?" She's like, "You used to make fun of me, telling me that." I was like, "I'm so sorry, I was wrong, Courtney. You should pursue your dreams. Go for it."
That's funny. So you've been doing how long you been singing?
So working with music, I do some singing in between, but it's mostly guitar playing. I've been singing a little more regularly for probably the last 6 or so years, but started out as just like a lead guitar. So they'd have a singer who was hired for like to be the singer, and I'd do some harmonies or backup. But I was always hired to be the guitar player. So whether there were a couple like a lead guitar or whatever, but that was my shtick. I would fill in. It was interesting for people who don't know. I would imagine a lot of your listeners, because about records and things like that, it's more band focused. There's a whole world out there of shows that are entertainments that's produced for events. So like award shows, a lot of resorts, cruise ships, theme park stuff, where they just cast you to be what you do. So they'll hire a sax player, they'll hire a drummer, they'll hire a bass player. These guys never met. They put them together for 2 weeks, teach them a show, and then send them off to do. So that's how I started out. Just kind of got hired to play guitar, and then they kind of introduced me to my band, if you will.
So you're with a band now, or you're by yourself, or?
So right now it's kind of, well, right now it's kind of chilling at home as the entertainment industry is on a hold. But yeah, before it was just for contracts. So I work with the same couple of companies all the time, but we do as we were talking about when you asked about this, I just came off of a big tour before this, and that's they just hired every individual to be part of this kind of vision they had. And so I don't work with a band like my own band, but I fill in for people for like, sometimes I'll join bands that are doing like big events that need an extra guy. So it's kind of more like a hired gun, but in a very serious sense of the word. I'm not a soulless guy who just takes jobs from other people.
Well, that's kind of neat. I I didn't know that you actually did that. That's kind of neat. I thought you actually had a band.
No, we play for. I've done a lot of major like conventions, and so they'll do like gatherings for things, and they want entertainment. They'll reach out to a company, and the company will say, what kind of show, what style do you want, and then they'll put a whole production together, and we'll fly out, and we'll spend 4 days setting it up with like rehearsing and doing all that stuff, and then we'll do one performance or two performances, and then that's it. That's the whole thing. You go home.
Dang, that's kind of
So it's cool because you get to be involved with so much, like so many styles and genres. And I think that's what I've loved the most about it is you're playing country one week, you're playing funk another week, you're playing rock, you do a metal show for Halloween or something, and it's never the same thing twice. You know what I mean?
wow. That is so cool.
It's amazing, and I'm very fortunate. I'm so thankful because it just kind of stumbled into it. I never even knew this stuff existed.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Well, ask any questions. This is yeah, it's rare I get to share the story like this, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and so have you been on a cruise?
So I haven't played on any cruises myself. I've had the opportunity, but I had to make some decisions about what I want to do with certain things. What I have done though to pick up some work in the industry on the side is actually write shows for cruise ships. So I'll write the sheet music and the arrangements for like, a rock band or a horn band. So I've set cruise shows up. I've done a lot of work with Carnival and Holland America. So I've been to their like bases where they set the stuff up, but I haven't played on any of the ships. So
Wow, that's neat.
yeah, thank you. It's amazing what is out there, you know.
Right. Hopefully you get to play on a cruise soon. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be fun. They run those guys into the ground though, I'll tell you. They work them hard. It's a great gig, like don't get me wrong, but you play a lot, you do a lot of performances, you work like 5, 6 days a week, doing the same gig for like 3 months. So
That's cool. So I'm guessing you really, really enjoy it.
I do. I'm very fortunate, and I have it's been a long time. It's been a long journey of like, you're always your own worst enemy. A lot of, comparing yourself to others, and having that like trying to find your own voice and struggling with confidence and things like that. Like it's been a huge uphill thing for that. Like, after coming off of like that tour last year was like the first kind of step from my like major sense of like you don't need to stop proving things to other people. Like you need to kind of accept yourself. Like you've reached that stage. We were playing for 15,000 people for some of those venues on that tour we just did. So
So are you playing like cover band stuff mostly?
the tour that we did was it was I think I shared you the website. It was the Hologram tour of Roy Orbison and Buddy Holly. So it was them. It was their estates. It was their like as real as it can be without them being around anymore. But it was essentially like going on tour with them, and so we were covering all their material. So it was a kind of a medley of a little bit of Roy, a little bit of Buddy, kind of mixed in between. But it was that tour was in Rolling Stone magazine twice. They did some write-ups about us. This tour was in the New York Times for an article. So it was a pretty high-profile thing. I mean, we had a bus. We played a couple different countries. Like it was a whole, big thing. So I don't do a lot of original music since I'm filling in for people, if that makes sense. It's usually, whatever they want to hear. We'll do I think we did a couple years ago for a New Year's Eve thing. We did a big performance in Boston, and it was just, like a hit of the decades of things that had happened through that year. So we covered a lot of Bruno, a lot of Bruno Mars, a lot of other stuff. But yeah, they put these productions together. They have companies that plan them and design them, and then they hire the musicians.
Huh. So what company do you work out of?
Well, I share my time between a few, and then I've started to work more freelance for myself, where I'm trying to kind of I've done a couple of contracts where I get to design the shows now. Now I don't perform in the ones I design. I hire, I work with groups to hire people, but I've worked with Windish Music. I've worked with they're based actually close to Philly. Matt Davenport Productions, which is the first company I worked for. They're from Tennessee. They're from Nashville, just outside Nashville, White House, Tennessee, if you're familiar. And then Moon Max Productions is out in the Boston area. They're in Provincetown, Rhode Island, but they do a lot of work in New England. And then RWS, which is a production company in New York City. So they're the four companies I work with the most as far as that kind of material goes.
That is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So has COVID affected you a lot?
Yes, it's been so difficult. And one of the things, what I will say is it's inspiring in some ways to force you. I think it really separates people who are going to stick it out, if that makes sense. But right before this, I was, like I'd said, working to have my own company and productions for things. We had some contracts lined up to write music for a couple of different. I don't know if you're familiar with the company Cedar Fair, but they own about 9 theme parks in the country, and so they need entertainment like show concepts and things all year round. And we had some contracts to do work with them, and we started out and we did some last year. I say we, it's just me. I don't know why. Just we sounds better. But it's just me and maybe some close friends if I need some help with some stuff, people I trust. But I had a contracts lined up. We did a few last year as kind of a test run, and it went great. And so we're looking at expanding this year, and we were still writing, pretty fervent. We were going, and then in May they just said, there's no chance." They were hopeful. They were hopeful it was going to open. So those all fell through, and then any of the ones I would have done through the companies I was working with for performances or writing, that all kind of went away too. And so, yeah, it couldn't be more different, you know. And
Yeah, the way the world is working anymore, it's usually internet and home based work anymore. Because yeah, I'm scared to go out. I'm not gonna lie.
oh, same. Yeah.
It's like you look at everybody like, do you have it? Do you have it?
Oh, for sure, it's tough. And
Nothing's worse when you have a sinus infection because of the weather changing, and so you go out there and sneeze and cough, and everybody like goes away from you.
that's where I'm at right now. I get bad sinuses and the weather changes. And today I'm like a little cold, and I'm like, oh, great. But I haven't been anywhere, so I'm not sick. But I'm, something's wrong in the nose, like in the face and stuff, and it like hurts. I'm like, oh God, this is all I need. People are gonna be staying away from spraying me with stuff to keep me away.
Yeah, I heard we're talking about doing another shutdown.
Yeah, now that's I had said, I think in some ways it's been, I wouldn't say it's been good in any way, but it's definitely been inspiring to push people who, this is what they need to do. Like I always say people, I need to make music, whether I'm performing, whether I'm recording, whether I'm writing, I need to do it. And so it's kind of pushed me to look for ideas. I'm working right now in the very infancy of it. But I'm working with providing music for music libraries for Instagram ads. I did a political commercial, like I did music for the background of some of that stuff. So things like that, like getting paid to do music for things like that and producing music from home. And that's kind of, it seems like a good fit no matter what. Like even if things open back up, and I was, had some touring opportunities that I was looking at for this year that obviously were shut down well before they even came to be. But even if things like that open, I think this is a good thing to have. Like, if you know what I mean, if you can make a resource like this work for you from home, it'll never be bad to have that working behind the scenes. So I think it's improved the way we think about our career.
Right. Like I've actually altered mine. Like I just started Wolfbear Records this year, and I mean, right now I've got 2,800 followers on Facebook. I just started this interview stuff this week, so I'm fairly new. Nobody knows I'm out there yet. I'm grateful for everybody that's actually interviewing with me because I'm new, but everybody's got to start somewhere,
Mhm.
And even if you reach one more person, you never know, it'll help you out in the long run. That one person could be like the best person you could ever, get your stuff out there to. So yeah, I've it's been a little rough for me. But like I said, I'm actually starting a radio station soon. So I'll be working with that. That's where I'm going to get my funds through. The artist is going to pay me like a small fee, put their
Mhm.
music on for about a whole month every day, have it stream. I'm going to be through like Twitch, Facebook, uh, Instagram, and then I'm signing up for Fan Pass because they pay you on Fan Pass to go on a radio station to host your own.
Hmm. Yeah, I've been looking at Twitch for just to have a place to share for people to come hang out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just miss playing.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, Twitch is a good place to go to because they actually have subs, so you get paid off of Twitch.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So
just started that.
so yeah,
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, that's the thing though, is that's what I said. Like, I feel like it separates people because there are definitely people who are like, this isn't working out anymore. I need to do something else. And God bless them. Like, it's not a judge. I can't imagine doing anything else. Like, there's nothing else I could do. So I have to find a way.
well, me personally, like I've always wanted to do this, but I got into a relationship where it wasn't allowed, so I let it slide for quite a few years. Well, now I'm into a new relationship, and you know, I believe in my dreams, and she pushes me for my dreams, and I push her for her dreams, and it works out. So I'm actually doing what I've always wanted to do. It only took me a few years, but I got there.
That's, yeah, hey, it's sometimes the stuff you go through helps you understand what you don't ever want to go through again.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. And that was the like when you had asked about having people, join in, I love to have the opportunity to like share something like it. I'm still figuring it out, you know what I mean? But like it can work out. Like this is my career, this is my life, like I do this every day and I've had great success with it and I'm so grateful for that because I had people who when I was starting out shared their stories or shared like the things they went through that were real struggles and you're like, "Oh, okay, it's normal. Like it's okay to feel this way and I can actually put my heart into something and it can happen." And so I was so happy to have the chance just to talk a little bit about what I've been through and you know hopefully someone listens and goes, I can do that, or I never thought about that, or I need that kind of encouragement. Like, you know,
Yeah, nowadays people definitely need encouragement because a lot of people are depressed because of everything that's going on.
oh, yeah, I hear that. There are days when I just look through all of my friends from the tour we were on. We're all obviously close friends now, and everyone's sharing that. Oh, a year ago we were here, we were at this casino, or we got to go here, we got to do this, or we stopped here on the road, and like, I mean, the experience was unlike anything. Like it was so inspiring to continue. Like I got an agent after that because I wanted to be on tour. That's all I wanted after that, and I still fully intend to. As soon as I'm allowed back on tour, it's the first place I'm going. Because it was just, I mean, we were the celebrities because our celebrities were on. They were computers. Because Roberson and Buddy Holly have been gone for so long, like they were holograms. So
Right.
we were spoiled. They took care of us like we were the celebrities. So I had a taste of the good life, and I intend to stay there.
Yeah, like you saying, I see memories on Facebook too. Oh, look at the good old days. You didn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I fully support anything we need to do though to keep people safe, and I can't.
I agree.
Everybody has their like. I don't even. It's not even political for me. Just caring about other people. Like we just need to stick together and make it happen. And, well, not stick together by not sticking together, if that makes sense.
I'm not gonna lie though. We've been wearing it for so long, and at first it was a hassle to put it on and remember it. Now it's like, oh God, I have to take my mask. And now if it comes to back to play to where the vaccine does work and it does go away, and we can actually go about our normal lives like we used to, it's gonna feel weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna feel weird not to have my mask. I'm gonna feel like something is missing. Because you
Yeah,
just
well, I'm sure we'll be a generation who like our kids, like metaphorically, like when like they will have an understanding, like we'll have gone through something that they're not going to have a reference for. So like I feel like people who went through this will kind of always have a twinge of this in the back of their minds. I don't know that I think our normal will just be a new normal, and it'll just. But I'm encouraged at the way the entertainment industry, whether it's live streaming concerts or things like, it's so obvious how much people need it. Like people are hurting, they want to see like music, they want to be a part of it. It's not the same thing to see it on a screen.
right.
So I think people, when we can do it, I think it will thrive. It may take some time, but it will. Obvious, like people want it, they need it to come back.
Have you ever been to Texas?
I have.
What part?
I worked with a show that was in San Antonio. I have
Okay, I'm around.
two of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I'm around Houston.
Okay, two of the girls from the tour that I was just on were from Houston. They work at a theater. Oh my gosh, they're gonna get so mad at me. I think it's called the Circle Theater, but I could be wrong. Um, they would never forgive me if I didn't remember the name of the theater they came from. But I'll just pretend like I got it right and we'll move on. But yeah, they're both from there, and I have a good friend who moved to Houston recently, so I have intentions to get out that way when I can. Never been though.
I'm actually between Galveston and Houston.
Okay.
It's really nice weather. I love it here.
Oh yeah, I bet. I'm as jealous as I can be. I remember like when we were touring last year, I was in Florida in the winter, and I was like, oh, no problems, no questions, no arguments. This is fine. People are posting, even with the cruise companies that I work with, I spend a lot of time in Miami, like helping set up shows and things, and I'm never mad to be. I'll take the humidity any day. Cook me 90 degrees. Let's do it. 110.
Well, because we're so used to the north. I mean, yeah, 43 years I was up there, no lie. I mean, it was like -30 in the winter to 95 in the summer. And
Yep.
it's like, that's like 120 some degree difference. And it's like, what? Here I don't have that. I'm lucky to maybe get 50-degree difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's different, and I can wear shorts and flip flops all the time. I never had that up north. I mean, I wore shorts and a shirt or a jacket, but it was still, my legs got cold. I don't have that here. I mean, yeah, I did get down to like 38 last night, but that rarely happens.
People always joke. They say, don't you miss the seasons? And I'm like, no. Once you've experienced all the seasons, I don't need them anymore. I don't need snow. I don't need cold.
I think it's the older you get too, being around it for so long. Like, I was from like northern Ohio, like towards Cleveland, and I would literally get the whole, get 12, 13 inches at a blink of the eye, and it's like,
Yeah.
and it stuck around from Thanksgiving to like April. 6
Oh
months
yeah.
being white on the ground. It was just, no, I'm over it.
Yeah. While we were traveling, we did a bus tour of the States and Canada. Because you don't have to fly. We were in Montana in October and it was snowing, and I was like, I could never. I mean, it was fine for us, like, because I'd be out of there in a couple of days, but like, I could never live there where snow starts coming in October. It's just not for me.
That is crazy. Well, anything else you want to add?
Honestly, I like I said, I don't know your audience, or even you're kind of learning your audience and things and figuring out what's out there. But the hardest thing that I ever learned was that you never need to sound like anybody than yourself. And like, it's such an understatement and it's such a cliche, and everybody says that, but like, when it makes sense, like as soon as it clicks, it makes sense. And you're like, all I do is try to impress people who do what I do, and they don't care. They're gunning for my job. You know what I mean? Like, when you try to be the best guitar player in a room full of guitar players, nobody cares.
Right.
Everybody thinks they know how you did it, or they're better than you, or they've seen, like, it's just it's a waste of your time, and it'll kill you. So like, for anybody like listening that's like singing or writing, like, if you try to show your music to people who do what you do, it's not the same as inspiring someone who like hears your song and like it gets them through the day. Like, they don't write music, they don't care, they just like listening to what you wrote. You know what I mean? Like, do what you do. And like, I still kick myself for not learning that either earlier or more fully now, like, so.
Well, show me a sample of what you play.
All right, well, I queued up a little medley of Buddy and Roy tunes from the tour.
Okay.
So I hope that's kind of in the style, and I don't know if you'll use the video, but we can.
Oh, I'll definitely play
it. Back you up a little, but yeah, not too flashy, but definitely doing the boys, those two Texas boys, proud. little something from the couple of songs from the show, kind of mushed together.
I liked it. It's very
Oh,
good.
thank you. Yeah, and when I play myself, I like to play a little funkier stuff.
Well, show me something.
Like a. That's what I would sit at home and play if I was left to my own devices.
That's
So,
awesome. Good
yeah,
job.
thank you. Like I said, I picked it up when I was 14, and I never wanted to stop playing, ever. Like, it's the only thing I do. I mean, I've turned it into some other things, and I heard a great guitar player who I admire very much, Mark Lettieri, say he's a student of music, not the guitar. And another thing, it took me too long to realize I was always trying to impress guitar players. You know what I mean? And not play music like to the song. Like, I was always trying to have other guitar players think I was good, and like it's totally the wrong angle. The people who hire me for shows, they're not guitar players, they're musical directors. They're thinking the guitar is the last thing on their mind. They're thinking, how does this whole thing work together? And so I, years ago heard that quote, and it's like stuck with me. Like, study music, play to the room, play to the band, and don't worry about impressing the guitar player in the room who's got his arms crossed. Nobody cares about it. Like, you just, keep inspiring people, make people smile. And speaking of smiling, not to be sentimental, but my grandfather, we actually lost him this 2 weeks ago to COVID complications. And he was the one person who always told me, he's like, you should never stop playing. Not that my family told me to stop, but he said, like, you're a genius, play, don't ever worry about anything else. The jobs will come, the work will come. You just got to keep playing. He loved to hear me play. And so that idea of just he wasn't a guitar player, he just loved to hear me play. And so I know that people just love to hear me play. And so that's why I play. I just love it.
Sorry to hear about your loss.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that's my crazy life in 20 minutes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I always like to keep contact with all the people that I interview, so we'll definitely have to do one down the road.
Oh, I'd love to. Hopefully I can tell you that I've had success making music at home and everything's going well.
Yeah, that would be nice to hear.
Yeah, well, reach out anytime. I appreciate it. So good luck to you with all the stuff that you're dipping into in those endeavors. I'm sure, just like this stuff, it's frightening, but it's exciting. So.
All right, man. Well, you have a good one, and thanks again.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.